Defend yourself against DDoS attacks by hiding your true IP address with ExpressVPN, and visit my custom link expressvpn.com/ghilliemaster in the description to find out how you can get an extra 3 months free. Hey everyone, and welcome to another GTA Online video here on the channel. Today I want to talk about something that has contributed to the downfall of fun PvP in this game, and that is the vehicle cooldowns, more specifically on the RC vehicles and why I think they need to be changed or rebalanced. And you know, we'll even extend this to some other cooldowns as well, because there is one thing in particular that I want to mention on top of this, which I'll get into. So in 2018's Arena War update, we got the RC Bandito, and in 2019 we got the RC Tank and the Nano Drone as part of the Casino Heist update. The Nano Drone, I guess, was technically added with the Nightclub update in 2018 when the Terabyte was brought into the game, but the one you can use in the interaction menu wasn't added until the Casino Heist. And then with the Contract update, we got the Remote Control Personal Vehicle upgrade option, which allows you to take any of those Demonic Take vehicles and put a remote control into them, so that's another RC vehicle we have access to. One of the biggest, if not the biggest, problems with all these RC vehicles is the absurdly short cooldown. And if you own all three of these RC vehicle options, or hell, even just owning two of them, you essentially have no cooldown on these. The RC Bandito has a 1 minute cooldown and the RC Tank has a 2 minute cooldown. If you use the RC Bandito and blow someone up with it, or maybe it gets blown up or destroyed in some way, you can respawn back on the ground and then you can go ahead and call in your RC Tank right away. Then while you're in the RC Tank, the cooldown will tick down for the RC Bandito, and when you're done with the RC Tank, you can then immediately call in the RC Bandito again with no cooldown. Both of these RC vehicles take you off the map completely, are armored so they are difficult to destroy when you consider their size, and have unlimited range, so if you wanted to, you could call it in from Paleto Bay and drive all the way down to the airport if you so desired. Now let's pretend we have a situation where you're up against a player on foot. You get a couple kills on him, and he starts spamming RC vehicles non-stop. There is nothing you're going to be able to do to counter this playstyle aside from get in an armored vehicle yourself and drive away, or call in your own RC vehicle. In which case, nothing is going to happen there because two RC vehicles are incapable of killing each other in an even decent amount of time. I cannot tell you how many times I've come across these types of players that do nothing but just spam RC vehicles non-stop. It's not only unfun, but completely unbalanced, especially when you consider some other cooldowns that are in the game. For starters, the regular mechanic cooldown is 2 minutes. Just for calling in a regular vehicle to drive around, that's a 2 minute cooldown. Meanwhile, the RC Bandito, an explosive strapped armored RC car that puts you off radar, is half that at a 1 minute cooldown. The Nano Drone, something that keeps you on the map to be killed while you're using it, that has a very short range that you can travel before you lose connection entirely, has a 5 minute cooldown. How does that make any sense? The ballistic equipment, an almost entirely useless drop you can call in that forces you to move slow and only use a minigun for just a tad bit of armor that won't even help you if someone is spamming RC cars against you, or just using rockets against you because it doesn't really deflect rockets that well, has a 15 minute cooldown. But RC cars get all these advantages and sport some of the shortest cooldowns in the game. How does that make sense from a logical balancing perspective? And as I've said, this has been a major contributor to the PvP being completely ruined these days. It's really bad, because once someone brings out the RC cars, the fight is basically over. They'll just keep spamming them over and over because they can, and you're just on the ground trying to look for them to blow them up, in which case they can just spawn in another one right away. And when it comes to the RC personal vehicles, these are also stupid because the only way to get rid of one is to blow it up because there's no driver in it, so there's no one to shoot out. Except when you do blow it up, you get charged for the insurance, which I think is bullshit because that's the only thing you can do to deal with it is to blow it up. That's the only option to defend yourself. And the fix for this problem is very, very simple. All of the RC vehicles, the RC Bandito, the RC Tank, the RC Person vehicles should be on a set universal cooldown that's shared between them. And that cooldown should be 5 minutes, so when you call in an RC Bandito and blow it up, you now can't call in the RC Tank or RC Person vehicle right away. You'd have to wait 5 minutes to use any of them again. Immediately, that gets rid of the spam problem right there. I also think there should be another counter to these vehicles, and that should come in the form of the compact EMP launcher. If an RC car gets blasted by the EMP launcher, I think it would be an interesting mechanic if it severed the remote control connection and kicked the player out of the vehicle. And logically, this would make complete sense too. If the onboard electronics and computer systems, you know, the thing that allows the remote controls to work, were taken offline by an EMP, it would only make sense to kick the player out of the RC controls. And this would fix the secondary issue of mainly the RC person vehicles having no counter but blowing them up. You shoot them with the EMP, bam, it kicks them right out instead of having to blow it up yourself. It should also work on the Bandito and RC Tank, however, those are much smaller and more agile, so it would be a lot harder to hit them with the compact EMP launcher, but it should still work. I've always said that the EMP launcher had virtually no purpose in the game right now, and if it worked like this, well, It would be the most interesting mechanic in use for weapon ever since the flare gun and homing rocket redirect mechanic. And paired with these suggested cooldown changes, it would absolutely tone down the RC vehicle spam that you often see in PvP. It would bring them down a step on the power level. And I know you guys have probably come across people that only just spam RC vehicles in PvP too, so you'll know exactly where I'm coming from when I talk about how it ruins the game a lot of the time. It ruins the fun PvP. Let me know all your thoughts on the balance of RC vehicles. Do you find them annoying? And what do you think about my suggested changes, including the EMP one? Because I've talked about the cooldown changes before, but the EMP one popped into my head a few days ago, and I really like it. I think it's a good idea. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like, as well as subscribe to my channel for more GTA Online content. I also want to give a huge shout out to all my channel members for your support. If you'd like to become a member for some exclusive perks, you can either use the join button or the link that's down in the description. And as always, thanks for watching, and have a great day.